So here's the conundrum. I really wanted to like this phone. This is the ideal size of phone where 6.1 inch feels a little cramped, 6.4 inches is the sweet spot. Anything smaller than 6.5 inch is big enough to be immersive and small enough to be pocketable and easily reachable most of the times. But this phone has its issues and some of them are deal breakers. I will not beat around the bush this time. Do not buy this phone. And if you're interested to know why, watch this video till the end. In terms of the unboxing experience, you already lose out on a couple of things. As you may have guessed, unlike the S20 FE, the S21 FE does not come with a screen protector applied. Also, there is no charger in the box this time. And once again, this phone was covered in dirt when unboxed, just like the S20 FE. This really leaves a bad taste in your mouth, and whatever packing or transportation practices Samsung is using for these phones needs improving, as it's not a pretty sight to see a dirty phone when you unbox it for the first time. Anyway, you do lose the factory applied screen protector, so make sure you order one or buy one at the time of getting the phone. And also make sure you have a USB Type-C charger of some kind to be able to charge this phone. Let me start by appreciating the good points of this phone. After all, I bought it with my own money and really wanted to like it. Starting with the design itself, it really brings the S20 FE design up to date. The screen is stretched further into the corners and the camera module is more modern looking. Also, 0.1 inch may not seem like a big difference, but when combined with the smaller bezels and an overall smaller body, it makes for a noticeably more pocketable phone. And then there's the weight. At 177 grams, this is even lighter than the already lightweight S20 FE, which weighs 190 grams. It really begs the question, why are we lugging around such chunky phones in the name of premiumness when most of the time we cover them up, or at least, as research shows, most users do. Continuing with the design of the phone, you will find that you also have lost the micro SD card slot. The SIM card slot is no longer hybrid and is only a dual SIM slot. This may not be such a big deal going forward, as less and less people are using micro SD cards in their phones. Also, if you get the 256 GB variant, this is pretty much irrelevant. Equally, with the 128 GB, you can make this a non-issue as long as you've signed up for some sort of cloud backup service. I like the fact that the camera bump is almost non-existent on this phone, so the lenses themselves are actually recessed inside the body. Phones that come with huge camera lenses protruding out of their backs, first of all, do not balance well when you place them on a flat surface, and secondly, beg the question, why not make the phone a little bit thicker and put in a bigger battery? The sides of the phone will feel immediately familiar to anyone coming from flagship Samsung phones, perhaps from the last 4 or 5 generations. There is a nice matte texture to the aluminum sides, and on this olive green phone it is color matched and looks really premium. The back of the phone is made up of glassstick, as Samsung calls it. It is similar to the S20 FE. The back is again rough matte finish and it feels more durable than a glass back phone to me. So this is in no way a disqualifier. In fact, in this olive green color, the phone really stands out from the crowd of nondescript flagships these days and will really help propel sales. It is my favorite color and also the hero color for the S21 FE series. So if you're considering between the 4 colors available, do check out the olive green at a store nearby. You might just decide to get this one. Besides that, this phone feels just right. It is just the right size, very light and with a beautiful immersive screen, which is only 1080p but 120Hz high refresh rate. We are all aware that Samsung makes the best screens in the business. They even make the screens for the iPhones. That means that this phone also gets a fantastic panel. There's very little to complain about the panel itself. It is sharp, vibrant, bright enough and very vivid. Content really stands out on this phone's display. In fact, I will even say that when I compare the screen to my iPhone 13 Pro, it feels as though the iPhone screen has some sort of vignetting when watching videos. The Samsung screen is so good that it makes the iPhone screen look inferior. There's nothing on the left side of the phone, and both the power button as well as the volume up and down buttons are on the right side. You get 2 antenna bands on the bottom, one on the right and one each on the top and the left. This is good to see and should mean good reception under all conditions. There is a hole punch for the selfie camera and the SIM card slot lives on the bottom of the phone alongside the speaker grill and the USB Type-C port. That pretty much sums up the design of the S21 FE. I think it's a very comfortable phone to hold and use, and people will quickly fall in love with this form factor. Now the S21 FE comes with an optical fingerprint scanner. This means that every time you place your finger or thumb on the screen, it will shine light onto the finger and recognize the fingerprint. The flagship S21 series comes with an ultrasonic fingerprint sensor that uses sound to recognize your fingerprint using the reverberations made by the contact of your finger with the screen. The advantage with that system is that it works even with wet fingers. That is perhaps the only disadvantage of the optical fingerprint reader. In any case, neither of them are the fastest fingerprint readers on the market. OnePlus has always made better optical fingerprint readers, and Touch ID remains one of the fastest. So this is neither a positive nor a con, and you should not use this as a make or break factor when deciding on this phone. The cameras are also a highlight. There's nothing to disappoint here. They are a very gentle evolution of the formula Samsung has been following for the past 6 or 7 years now. The photos are less smushy now and the video is nice and crisp. Even the high-resolution selfie camera does resolve a lot of detail, even more so than the iPhone 13 Pro, so it's not merely a gimmick. Compared to the S20 FE, it is a marginal improvement in most areas. And like that phone, it will feature in the top 10 camera smartphones. So a good experience when it comes to the cameras. Okay, let's get serious now. This here features the Exynos 2100 SoC. This is nothing to be proud of. In fact, Samsung themselves underplay this aspect of the phone. Whilst they advertise the Snapdragon 865 in the S20 FE in bold in all their marketing materials, they only refer to the SoC inside the S21 FE as their fastest chip. Well, the truth is, it is not the fastest. I will link to certain deep dive articles that look into relative performance of the Exynos and Snapdragon chips. So do read up on those if you're looking for details. But the fact is, the Exynos 2100 gets beaten even by the Snapdragon 865 SoC, let alone the Snapdragon 888 or for that matter the upcoming Snapdragon 8 Gen 1. And quite frankly, I'm being kind here because I don't even care about absolute performance under the hardest of scenarios. But for a phone to be a flagship or a flagship killer, it has to offer good performance whilst being thermally and power efficient. This is neither. It gets warm during normal use, so much so that you cannot use it without a case. It's uncomfortable using it without a case, and that defeats the whole point of such a light phone. Add to that the current issues with Android 12 and One UI 4. Trust me when I say this phone stutters and is janky as hell. And when it does that, the refresh rate is probably a laughable 10 Hz and not even 60 Hz, let alone the smooth 120 Hz it's supposed to deliver. Sure, there may be a fix for this in the future, but do you want to deal with these sorts of issues with your shiny new phone? Probably not. And thirdly, the battery life of the S21 FE Exynos version, when used with 2 SIM cards and even when connected to Wi-Fi most of the time, is terrible. There's no other way to put it. It struggles to deliver even 5 hours of screen on time and will give you low battery warnings consistently around 7 PM. Unless you baby it and use it very little and ramp it down to 60 Hz, turn off the always on display, you will not get a full day's use out of this phone. Yesterday I charged it twice during the day and it still gave me a low battery warning around 9 PM. As if these weren't enough problems, almost constantly the phone is having network issues and displays a network connection failed error every time you unlock it. What this also means is that if you're using the Wi-Fi calling feature, callers will have a hard time getting through to you because the phone will constantly be in and out of network coverage. No doubt this also contributes to the terrible battery life. Some of these criticisms are quite harsh, but Samsung is a company that is very aggressive with giving review samples of their phones out to the bigger influencers. But you should be careful about what information you trust before making your purchase. A little bit of research shows me that the network and the refresh rate issues are well known when it comes to the S21 series. You can find several support articles on these. Curiously, some of them state that most of these issues are limited to the Snapdragon variants of the phones, but I can certainly confirm that they apply to the S21 FE Exynos variant. So whilst this phone seems like a lost cause, there is still good news. I recently reviewed the S20 FE Snapdragon variant, and that is a fantastic phone. It has again dropped in price and represents fantastic value. It has no refresh rate issues, the battery lasts all day, and it only got warm during the initial setup for me and stayed pretty much cool after that. So the advice is simple. If you're in no hurry, wait for the S22 and pray that they give us Snapdragon variants in India this time, or the promised performance of the Exynos 2200 is a reality. Otherwise, the S20 FE 5G is a better phone than the S21 FE, at least the Exynos variant. Even though it's an older design and I prefer the smaller size of the S21 FE, the S20 FE comes with none of the issues with the S21 FE and is a lot cheaper to buy. Hope you found some value in this video, and for a more in-depth look at the S20 FE, do watch my overview of that phone next. Links on screen and in the description. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.